how can I go to a restaurant and sit down and having drinks and fun if you have 1,000 people dying just around the corner?
I'm Dani Valent, and this is Dirty Linen, the podcast that takes the issues the hospitality industry finds hard to air in public and shakes them all about. This week on Dirty Linen, we're chatting to people in the hospitality world, all around the world, and we are going far away today, all the way to Brazil, where we're chatting to chef Jorge Curi. Although he says I can call him George. I don't know. Jorge, I know that things in Brazil are pretty intense and pretty different, and we're so honoured that you're going to let us know here in Australia more about what's going on for you in South America. So welcome to Dirty Linen. Thank you so much for coming to have a chat.
No, I say thank you. It's such a pleasure to having this chat with you.
So tell us about the situation in Brazil with COVID, and of course it's a very tumultuous political situation in Brazil as well.
Yeah, sure. Here, we are on the darkest political moment here in Brazil because we have no leader. We don't have even a minister of the health to being caring of the people. And that's not mean that the people are dying on the streets, but we have so many cases, and we are such a large country, so we have a different higher period of the disease in different parts of Brazil. Is just spreading around. I'm living down south Brazil. It's really close to Uruguay. It's about 2 hours from the border of Uruguay and Argentina. So it's different. I'm about 1,000 kilometers from Rio de Janeiro, just like to compare the distance. And there, on May, you have a critical period in Rio de Janeiro, and start to be here now the critical period. So no other countries have a so long time with so many deaths, and that's the point. We banalize the deaths. We have more than 100,000 people dying here in Brazil.
I heard a couple of days ago Brazil passed 100,000 deaths, which is a milestone that you never, ever want to reach. It's just, I guess, only the United States has had more. And with the political situation, I heard that you're a health minister, or the health, the controller of health was jailed for corruption because he was spending the money that was given to him to spend on coronavirus. So there's so much corruption, so much instability.
Yeah, that's the point. We at the same point we have a free health for all of the people, but the point is the corruption take most part of the money, and the most people who are dying are the poor people and the black people. About 6% of the people are black, because is the poorest people here in Brazil.
Well, I think throughout the world we're seeing that poor people are more vulnerable to all kinds of disease and all kinds of difficulty and disease, and certainly it's although the disease attacks every person's body, I think some people are very much more susceptible because of their circumstances, and if perhaps they find it difficult to isolate, perhaps they're in a profession or they have a job where it's really difficult to maintain distancing. So I'm really sorry to hear that it's such a big, stark difference in Brazil as well.
Yeah, it's such an honor, and we are proud to have a free insurance health with all of the people here in Brazil, and there should be an example for all over the world, the way that we're taking care about it. Because if you compare to United States, that you have a pain insurance, a health insurance for all of the people, but that's not working for the poor people. That's the point, because we don't have a really high rate of deaths. If you compare about million people, we are I think we are second or third most deaths country. The more dead people in all over the world. But if you see like the deaths rates for million people, I think we are on the 30 or something like that. It's not a ranking that you can compare, but some ways that now many people, and you asked me yesterday about if I know someone, or yeah, we start to know a lot of people, like a cousin, an uncle, so it's getting closer, and so that's the point.
Yeah, and I know that Bolsonaro, your president, is a bit of a denier. Like he's not taking the situation that seriously. I think he's had coronavirus himself, but it doesn't sound like he's showing the kind of leadership which would let most people, I guess, take the steps that they would need to stop the spread of the virus. Would that be a fair thing to say?
Yeah. That's true. We can compare him with Trump. Né? We have our Trump. I think you have more news about Trump and about all of the positions, the bad positions that he have, and we have the. I think it's even worse here in Brazil because no one is taking care properly. We had a health minister at the beginning was doing a really good job, and he was putting the country together with some actions and interviews, and every day he was on the TV, like calming down the population, explain the situation. But now we have a kind of dictatorial posture that even hiding the numbers. So we don't have the numbers coming from the government. We have the numbers coming from journalist groups that taking the numbers with the governments, because here we have it's separated by states, so we don't have a federal program that's taking care. Each state have his different position about the coronavirus. That's the point. So it's kind of mess because you have different postures and different actions across the country. So that's why it's spreading across the country, and each government are taking the risks. It's difficult. It's really difficult.
So you told us you're down in the south of Brazil near Uruguay. Can you tell us about the place where you live and about the restaurants that you've got?
Yeah, sure. We are kind of different way that I think you see Brazil. We have all the seasons here. We have a proper winter here. We have like today we have 5 degrees Celsius, so it's not like hot all of the year. So we have more. I like a South culture here. We call that's more like Uruguay and Argentina, and that's we took seriously the cold here.
Okay.
And yeah, I got 3 business running here. The city called Pelotas, and it is on the Rio Grande do Sul state. It's one of the third, fourth city. We have two, three. No, it's about 400,000 people living here, and then it's a medium city here in Brazil because we have some really large city. Our first business we start almost 10 years ago. It's called Madre Mia, and we have a concept called restaurateur. It's like a kind of restaurant, pub, and art gallery. It's not like the conventional art gallery. It's like mixed on the space, but we have different artists that we change the exposition twice a year, and we do on the kitchen. We cook. We call a Latin fusion. It's like taking some traditional dishes from Peru, from Chile, from Argentina, with local ingredients, and do our own food on a really casual way, and not fancy. Is really casual. That's really nice because we have this mix. And we work as well with some artisanal beer, And then after 3-4 years, our group started a place called Navi, and it's like a food court. We have a lot of we have a fire station. We have another things that we cook, and we work like a small industry that we can activate another business with this really nice extra, and that possibility to open our third business that's called Mordomia. It's a kind of a dark kitchen that we only do. We have an equipment called ultra freezing. I don't know how you call that in English.
Oh
If
yeah,
it's
like
that.
blast freezing.
Yeah, like
Like it freezes things really fast.
yeah, that's the point. So we cook and that was at the beginning of the situation of COVID that we close all the business and we just keep doing ultra freezing food because that possibility to do 1-2 days long shift and cook a lot of food and then keep at home for 10 days, 2 weeks, and then go back to the restaurant. And this give you a little bit of brief for the business. But talking about the political situation, keeping talking, we have some helps here from the government, like some good taxes to pay the wage, the salaries, and we have a lot of bank uh, lines of credits, but no one can access because of this kind of mess of our government. So we have the money, it's on the bank, but any business it's possible to access this money. It's kind of difficult.
So so the government has said they will help, but the systems aren't working, so you can't actually get the help from them, right?
Yeah, they have about I think $10 billion to help all the food industry, but I think even less than 10% of this money it's really the people are really getting to help the business, but
That must be very frustrating. So what are the rules there? Like, did you have to close down? Are you only, what's the rule as far as running a restaurant there in Pelotas?
that's the point. I'm admirate. Like I just saw now the news. For example, New Zealand have 4 new cases and they are locking down.
Yeah, they're taking it super seriously.
Yeah, here we have 1,000 deaths in Brazil a day, and because of this different, there's no a leader, a federal leader. Every state are taking his own rules. So now, where I live, we just had a 2 days lockdown. That nobody could explain why just 2 days of lockdown, and we couldn't work even with delivery, and everything was closed. But this was the first really lockdown that we did. The first one that we started when everything started all over the world on March was like a scary lockdown because we don't have cases and everybody was at home, but wasn't a rule that you can't open. But now we are open, and so it's like a kind of 1 week you can open and another week you close it. 1 week they are improving the hospitals and then you can open, and then 14 days later, you are closing again. So for the business, it's a kind of mess because you never can organize yourself. So
That's terrible. I mean,
yeah,
stock and I mean, actually, your blast freezing business was a stroke of genius because that sounds like the only one that makes sense at the moment.
yeah, we call even we start to call of the name of the business, and we do like a project that's called uh, Todos Somos That's mean everybody is unique, is one force that we put all of the products and the foods that make the like the character of the business, and we put in only one business. That's everything was freezing. Was good for April, and but we have too many employers and so many customers as well. Before COVID, we have about 25,000 people a month eating our restaurants here. So it's more than the much more than population of the city during 1 year. And we sell it much more than food. We sell it experiences. We sell it like a moment that you take. It's not only about the food, and that's the difficulty at the moment, because everybody is doing delivery. Everybody is selling like the best food that they can. So it's difficult to compete like that. So everybody's like just selling a bit, paying some bills, but nothing really going well, like with delivery.
Yeah, you can't be who you are properly. So it must be I mean, how do you feel? Like, this must be so destabilizing. You really can't express yourself through your business in the way that you want, and to have the leadership vacuum and the health emergency. I mean, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's I say that when you are internship, you it's an adventure, you know. Yeah, but now I think it's much more adventure than ever, because I feel really confused, but I need to keep firm and to keep doing the things. So most every week I have a new start, a new way to start, a new way to improve my business. So that's the adventure. That's the challenge to do here, because you never know what's gonna happen. Like in 2, 4, 5 days, 1 week, it's really short the way that you can organize yourself, your supplies and everything.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah, that's true.
How many employees do you have?
Before the crisis, I have about 60 in our three restaurants, 60 employers, and now I have about 25, even cut the half. And yeah,
Wow.
yeah. There's one way that the government are helping. We have about 4 months of all of the wages paid by the government. But in the food industry here in Brazil, that's been about 20% of our of what we sell. We sell, so it's a help for sure, but not that much.
Right. And does everyone, because here in Australia we have a wage subsidy as well, but there's problems with not everybody is able to access it. So there's all these exceptions. If you're from overseas and you're not a permanent resident of Australia, you don't get that assistance. If you haven't been working with the business for long enough, you don't get the assistance. Is there similar rules in Brazil with that scheme?
More or less, it's something that here in Brazil we have so many business that run informal. Most of the food business it's like the family business or something like that. So that's difficult to access. Our business is everything on the rules and everything is fine. So we are having an access for that, and that's helping. I can say that. But I heard about so many business that sold for so long in the industry, and that they are not couldn't access the money and everything, and that's the point.
Yeah. Is Brazil the sort of place where if the government said everyone needs to wear a mask, that everybody would wear a mask, or are people likely to just do their own thing?
Yeah, like they do what most of people do what the leader does. So if our leader are not using the mask and everything, that's the point. Here in my city, I cannot say that people are not using the mask, but the people do are using the mask. But it's amazing. I would say something that is not good for my business, but it's a personal feel, that how can I go to a restaurant and sit down and have drinks and fun if you have 3,000 people dying just around the corner. So the people are open the restaurants because they need. I'm sure of that. I cannot judge that because it's so many things on the way. But we are just keeping our delivery, but because we not believe that we can open now and be able to have fun and to enjoy a dinner, a meal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's mandatory that you must use the mask, and the people are respecting that.
Okay. But you just feel like it wouldn't be the right thing to do to be inviting people in for a great experience when there's a crisis outside.
Yeah, but now because it's taking too long, so the government starts to not compromise themselves with all the benefits and everything to help the industry. So they are allowing to open, but something you can open if you want, but it's up to you because in truth, it's crazy. It's crazy. They banalize deaths. That's the point of our government. They banalize deaths.
They what?
They banalize they don't even care. Like
Right.
for so many people are dying, they are just counting the numbers and say, yeah, deaths happens and that's it. This disease. So in kind of some parts of the country, they have like immunized for themselves. They are so disorganized. So many people are on disease. So even now start to decrease the numbers because of this, like kind of, I don't know how to explain to you.
Yeah, it's just like so chaotic that it looks like it's going down, but you know that there's a lot of people who are sick that perhaps aren't even getting tested or counted in the statistics.
Yeah, we don't have even testing the people, and that's it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so tell us a bit more about the food in Brazil and about your style of foods. Like, what's a dish that you love to make? If I came there and this was all behind us and we were just going to have a great experience in a great restaurant, what kind of food would you give me?
Yeah, in our business, we do like really casual food. So I consider myself a really technique chef, but with the technique apply for a great experience. It not does not mean to be a fancy dinner or expensive dinner. I want to be more a popular chef with good products, good taking care of the people around here, but with political way. How can I explain?
Feel like you're telling me a story or something with the food, like there's a point to it?
Yeah, here we are down south. We have one of the most fish industry in all of Brazil that we export even for Europe. So I love seafood. I born in the beach, so it's kind of food that I do with my soul. That's what I really like. But we like to sell experience. We like to sell. It's not one food that explains us. It's more like the environment and the way that you treat the food, the way that we can approximate, like with the classical dish, a classical recipe, with our touch and with our ingredient, in with the way that we see the world. That's the point.
Mm. Well, tell me about a seafood dish that I might have if I come there when you're back open.
Yeah, something with prawns. That's here in our region. It's really nice. We have one of the best prawns. Like do we call the Vietnamese prawn? It's like a gray prawn. It's not like there is a lagoon here that can that's a lagoon that have the entries by the sea, so have a water that's a little bit salty, but not that much, and that's give it a really sweet taste for our prawn. So it's like a really such a nice experience. So for sure I will offer a dish with prawns when you come over here.
Definitely. That sounds really good. So what's the feeling like in the town, on the streets? Do you feel like are people exhausted? Are they hopeful? Are they worried? are people still talking? Like, yeah, people are worried.
Yeah, the people are worried for sure because we haven't so many deaths and we don't have control about about the disease and about everything. So no one knows who to believe and which way that they need to take, and they are not being protected about the government. So they need to be. A lot of people need to be on the streets to make money, to eat, and everything. And that's the point.
Mm.
But yeah, the people are worried.
How do you imagine Brazil progressing from here?
It's difficult to say now something like that because sounds like I'm a guru to say how the Brazilian progress.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's week by the week.
you're just in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I cannot like imagine how it's gonna be. I think we are on the worst scenario now, and but there's no history about the other country that's for so long have so many deaths a day. Even the United States is not like that. So yeah, but I'm hopefully that everything's gonna be all right. All right, just we are on the middle of the winter here, so a lot of people say it's the worst scenario when you are in the middle of the winter. So I'm hoping that on the spring the things gonna start to go well.
That's what we hope as well, because we're in the middle of winter as well, and here in Melbourne, we're locked down. It's nothing like what you're experiencing. Yeah, it's nothing like it. But
Tell me a little bit more about Melbourne, how the industry is working there. Just let me know.
well, so I'll tell people how I met you. So there's a beautiful Brazilian cafe called Bossa Nova in the inner city of Melbourne, in Carlton, and I wrote about that for my restaurant column last year when I still had a job as a restaurant critic before there were no restaurants. And I reached out to them and asked if they could find me someone in Brazil to speak to, and I'm so happy that they introduced me to you. So in Melbourne, we've been living with this, I guess, since the middle of March, like everybody, well, from like most people around the world. Um, we in Melbourne, it's the worst place in Australia at the moment. We're locked down, and we've got the hardest lockdown that Australia's had. So we're halfway through a 6-week lockdown where you're only allowed 5 kilometres from your house. You're only allowed out for essentials. Restaurants are able to do takeaway, but many other businesses and shops are closed or reduced. So it's really tough. There is support from the government, but it's yeah, there's a lot of unity from the government at the start. That seems to be fraying a little bit. It just feels like a grind and it feels exhausting. And I think the first time we were locked down in March, there was a lot of energy and a lot of innovation. And now it just feels a bit more like, okay, we know how to do this, but it sucks.
Yeah. I feel the same for sure.
Mm. Well, I'm glad that we can find some solidarity at this great distance. While I should be having a glass of wine while you're having your coffee. We're totally in the opposite ends of the day. But Jorge, let's stay in touch and just hear how things shake down for you in Brazil. I really, really hope there's some turning of the corner, and as spring comes to us both, that it brings an easing of the situation. Thank you so much for, yeah.
Yeah, our chat is a kind of hope because even with so long distance, we are together on this as humanity world. So it's a kind of hope. I'm finishing that conversation with a hope on my heart that we're gonna leave this and we're gonna be back with a good industry and everyone together. So it's really nice to have this chat with you. I thank you so much. Sorry about my English that I cannot express myself really well and explain the situation, but I think I could say a little bit of what we are having here in Brazil.
Yeah, your English is great. So each week I have a project here where I talk to people from overseas and give them soup, like some of these people who aren't being helped by the government. And there's this Portuguese guy that I chat to every week, Fernando. It's a Brazilian guy, so he speaks Portuguese. And each week I get him to teach me one new word in Portuguese, but it's definitely not enough for it to have a conversation. So your English is fantastic.
Thank you very much. I live in London for some years, so but I never have really proper lessons of English. I really learned working on the industry, so I can express myself a little bit.
Definitely. All right. Well, I wish you a good day and a good week, and I really am grateful for your time today, Jorge. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for you too. Have a nice week.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about. We spend a week thrashing around each issue, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This is a Deep in the Weeds production.